Good afternoon. Welcome to one more webinar from Telerik India. My name is Lohit G and I work as a technical evangelist with Telerik in India. If you are a new attendee for our webinars, we pretty much conduct our webinars every Thursday of the month. So in order to check the schedule, what you can do is you can go to www.telerikhelper.net and we pretty much publish our schedules in this particular website. When you log on to this website, there is a featured post here. It says it is raining technology in August. This is a blog post talking about the August schedule. If you see here today, that is August 13th, we are talking about responsive design, using Bootstrap and Kendo UI. And next Thursday, that is August 20th, we will be looking at 10 useful new features of ECMAScript 6. And then August 27th, it will be how do you consume Azure mobile services in Telerik platform. So just to give you a brief background about Telerik, Telerik is a progress company. We have been in the business for close to 12 years now, and we are known for UI technologies that we provide. Basically, you name it technology, we have the control sets for that. So if you take a look at my products listing here, or the portfolio that we have in Telerik, we pretty much have something known as dev tools or developer tools. You should see a menu now. Under developer tools, we have controls, out of the box controls for web technologies like ASP.NET Ajax, MVC, also PHP, JSP, Silverlight. We also have HTML5 framework called as Kendo UI. That is what we're going to be looking at today. Also, if you're on desktop platform, we have WPF WinForms. On a mobile platform, we have controls for PhoneGap, iOS, Android, Windows Universal Phone, Windows Phone, Xamarin, you name it. Also, we have our own mobile platform. It's known as DevCloud, or popularly known as Telerik platform. We give you A to Z of mobility, starting from application building to backend services to analytics, application management, feedback. We also have a native technology, or using JavaScript, you can build a native iOS and Android with single source code base. That's called as native script. We have already done a couple of webinars on that. If you want to go take a look at that, you can always come back to telerikhelper.net, go to the categories called webinars. As you can see here, already 88 webinars we have done over the past 3 years. So all the materials is available here. Each webinar comes with a slide deck and the video recording, so you can always go back and then take a look at this. So here's my last webinar that I did last week. So here's the slide deck and then the video recording. So this is the recap blog post that we write normally after the the webinars. And that's more or it, like what we do at Telerik. We give you controls, you can use them in your projects out of the box. A lot of things. Okay, so somebody's asking, can we start the core subject please? Okay, sure. Today we're going to be talking about responsive web design. So I don't have a slide deck, as I said. Today I'm going to be just getting into the design. So responsive web design has become kind of a norm of any website today. If you're building any website, pretty much everybody will be asking, is it responsive? That's the first question. So is it responsive? So the concept or the word itself, that is it responsive, it means a lot of things to different people. To me, a responsive web page or a responsive design is all about, if I have a web page, can I make it look good on a desktop browser? Of course, in a desktop browser, you're going to be having a pixel ratio of 1200 by currently I am running around 1600 by 900 pixel density or something like that. That's my resolution. Maybe I'll pick up an iPad or a Windows Surface, a Microsoft Surface, or I'm going to pick up maybe a Windows Phone, right? So under the hood, to me, if you ask me, there are only three screen sizes, or we like to call it as form factors. There are only three form factors. One is the desktop PC, another one is a tablet browser, and then another one is a phone. So if I create a web page, can I make it look good on all these three form factors? Now, why do you need to make it look good on all these three form factors? it's basically got to do with the real estate that you have on the screen. On a desktop PC browser, normally you have plenty of places or plenty of real estate or plenty of place that you can place things around. You can lay out things pretty good. But that's not the case when it goes to a tablet. A 7-inch tablet or a 10-inch tablet that you get. So your space is restricted, meaning you don't get the full width and height that you used to get on a desktop PC. So of course your page would have to be resized, or your page would have to be kind of styled to look good on that particular browser. Now coming to the phone is completely different, right? It's just a 4-inch screen, maybe 700 pixel or 800 pixel, which is what you get on a height of around 600 pixel or whatever, the phone sizes. So now the same web page, if somebody has to if somebody has to navigate on the phone, what do? You cannot put everything that you put on the desktop browser, or everything that you put on a tablet browser. You gotta now restyle your page for the phone also. So the concept of making sure that when a page is run on a desktop PC browser, or the page is run on a tablet browser, or the page is run on a phone browser, it adapts itself to whatever available width and height and makes it look nice, is what is known as a responsive web design from my perspective. That's my experience, right? So that's why I've opened up a Wikipedia. If you look at it, what is a responsive web design, or RWD as it's popularly known as, is an approach to web design aimed at crafting sites to provide an optimal viewing and interaction experience. So that's the key here, optimal viewing. Different devices have different experience that the user would have gotten into. For example, I know what I can do on a desktop PC browser. Similarly, on a phone, I know, I cannot expect everything. So my experience that I go through on a desktop PC browser versus the tablet browser versus the phone browsers are different, right? So you got to make sure that your web page provides that optimal experience, or provides that optimal viewing and the experience for easy reading and navigation, with a minimum of resize, minimum of panning, minimum of scrolling. So that is the key here. So responsive web design is all about optimal viewing, providing an optimal viewing experience, which is easy to read, which is easy to navigate, not a much of resize, not a much of panning, not a much of scrolling. So when I say minimum resizing, panning, or scrolling, it's you, the user, who is looking at the web page on a device. If you have to kind of do too much of resizing or scrolling or panning, yeah, that's not kind of a responsive, or the page is not responsive, right? Now that's as simple as it can get with the exam, or the meaning of responsive web design. So that's the core. So you need to make your page responsive. If you take a look at our website, so I'm using Chrome for a very specific reason. Okay, I don't have that particular Chrome extension, so let me just quickly get a Chrome extension called Mobile View. It's easier. I was just trying to use this on my other Mobile View Chrome extension. What this extension does is, it kind of gives you, instead of resizing my I can go to the developer tools and then say like, hey, resize this, but rather this is much more simpler. So if you see here, it just gives me a icon on the top, and then I can just go and then say like, hey, how does this page look like in a so okay, I got the extension. So let me go back to our website. If you take a look at our website here, so this is actually won couple of awards for best design. So this is responsive. What do you mean by responsive is, so I'm currently viewing this particular page on a desktop PC browser, so it knows that it has around a lot of space. So you see the menu items are all cleanly laid out. I have these boxes coming. So basically this is a column layout. I have 3 columns, and each column has a couple of rows here, all those things. So we have laid out this particular web page, right? Now let me click on this particular thing. So this is the mobile view. If you see here on the top, I don't think it's kind of come up on your screen, so let me wait for it. There's a lag. What I've done is I clicked on the extension that I just downloaded called as the mobile view. So take a look at what's the experience that you're getting. On the background is the desktop PC experience. On the extension that you see on the right hand side, what I said was, how does this web page look like on a mobile device? right? So what you're seeing here is the menu items have gone into a nice little hamburger menu. So let it refresh on your screens. I clicked on the hamburger menu, so you will see that in the desktop PC browser, whatever menu was there on the top, now they have been neatly placed under this hamburger icon, and then I get the menu item. Not only that, I can pretty much scroll now, and you will see, like, all the three column layout has gone into a single column layout. Just give me a second. Looks like my browser has kind of snapped, or my mouse has snapped. Just give me a second. Okay, I'm back. I think now my mouse is back. So what you're seeing here is now the in the background, you can see that there's a three column layout, but when I see it on a mobile device, the three column layout has become a single column, and then I have just one rows, like this. So this is what we mean by responsive designing, and I can see how this looks like in a what do you call the tablet. Again, tablet, I cannot show the full the menu item. So what we have done is we have neatly packed it into a um, the hamburger menu, and then of course if you do here, now I can actually fit a three column layout, because in the tablet I do get that particular screen state. So that's pretty much. So as you can see, our website is also responsive in design. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to talk about Bootstrap. So Bootstrap, I'm not going to go too deep into Bootstrap. I'm assuming a little bit of Bootstrap. Oh, sorry, it's not Bootstrap. It's getbootstrap.com. So in Telerik, we have this control set called as Kendo UI. Kendo UI is the HTML5 based. Let me show you that. So Kendo UI is a JavaScript-based client-side, a framework, and we provide, web widgets, or the web controls, or the data visualization controls, and the mobile framework. So we have a hybrid mobile framework which is completely free, and the web controls and then the data visualization controls, they're all completely JavaScript based. You have the Bootstrap support also, meaning Kendo comes with close to 11 themes out of the box, no, 15 themes out of the box, and one of the theme that we have is known as Bootstrap theme. Why am I talking about Bootstrap? Because Kendo as a HTML5 framework does not contain any layouting technology. So we knew that there's already something called as Bootstrap. Bootstrap has been very, very popular. Most of the developers use Bootstrap, or most of the developers may be using the foundation, that is the Zub Foundation CSS framework that is there. Basically, what Bootstrap and then this foundation frameworks provide you is a layouting technology. So the layouting technology is fairly simple. If you go here and then take a look at Bootstrap's CSS, and if you take a look at this grid system, this is interesting. What they do is they give you a fluid, they give you a responsive 12 column virtual grid layout, meaning Bootstrap will tell you that, hey, on your page, you will have 12 columns. So you decide which column should come up on what particular what do you call the resolution. So basically you have things like large, or they call it as LG for large, MD for medium, SM for small, XSM for extra small. So basically this LG or the MD or the XM are basic is nothing but the screen size. So what they do is anything less than 768 pixel, they term it as extra small devices, and anything greater than 760 or up to 768, they term it as tablets, and then from 768 to 992 they term it as desktops or medium devices, and then 1200 pixel and above they consider that as a large device, right? And then what you can do is using these combinations or using these things, here is a 12 column grid system that they give you. As you can see here, I can say that column MD1. That means on a medium device, I want this column to take the 1/10 or 1/12 of the available size. So if you see here, if I say column MD1, that means give me 1/12 of the available size, right? So as I said, it's gonna be divided. The whole area will be divided into 12 virtual columns, and they have their pixel calculations, everything done, and then if you can also do something like this, you can come in and say like, I want first column to take the 4 virtual columns, meaning give me 1/3 of the available space. I'm saying column MD4, column MD4. That means on a medium device, I want this column to fill up 4 available columns. And when it goes to maybe a small device, they all take the complete whatever size that is available. So in Talric, we did not reinvent any new technology or any reinvent any new control or a page layout control which will do this in Kendo UI, because we knew that we will have to coexist with all these things. So we work very well with Bootstrap. So today we're going to be looking at how you can use Bootstrap for the layout terminology or the layouting technology as a layouting technology, and then I'll talk about how different controls provide you the responsive behavior. Will you please explore about Kendo UI? Well, as I said, Kendo UI is a client-side HTML5 based JavaScript framework. We have close to 70 plus jQuery based UI widgets. We have already done a lot of webinars on Kendo UI, so you can go take a look at this. I'm going to just give the gist about Kendo UI. If you know jQuery, you know Kendo UI, because Kendo UI is built on the foundation of jQuery. So jQuery is a dependency for Kendo UI, because at the time when we started with Kendo UI, jQuery was very popular and everybody was doing jQuery. So what we wanted to do was give an enterprise level beautiful widgets, as we call it, and then if you know jQuery, you could progress, or you could do a progression to Kendo UI very easily. Currently when I said 70 plus controls, so this is what it is. On the background, you're actually seeing a live Kendo grid, and then here's the source code in the foreground. We have a scheduler. So don't assume that this scheduler, what you're seeing here in the background, is actually a Outlook embedded in the screen. No. This is an HTML5 scheduler. So that means if you build a page with Kendo UI, rest assured they're going to look the same, behave the same on any browser which supports HTML5. So that means a PC browser, a mobile browser, a tablet browser, you name it. And here's a chart demo. So this is our chart, as you can see here, and this is an editor, and of course we have a lot of other 73 widgets. So these are the widgets that we have, starting from the complex ones like grid to simple ones like autocomplete. And what interests me as a developer is I've been developing web for 14 years now, so I'm more interested, or I'm more excited about the let me see if I can select this. So the web frameworks, what you see here on my right hand side, we give you a JavaScript data source, we give you a drag and drop framework, we give you effects framework, we give you globalization framework, we give you MVVM framework. So all these things are part of Kendo UI. Just download, it's a 30-day free trial, and then you can get started. So now let's come back to CSS. One of the things, Bootstrap. So one of the things that the Bootstrap provides you is this grid system, as I spoke about. So today's let me get my case statement or the problem statement. What I wanted to do was, if we have friends joining us from outside India, I'm sorry, you may be confused as to what this is, but yeah. So in India, there is a sport called as Kabaddi. So this is nothing but two teams, 7 people. All you need to do is one team goes to the other team and then tries to make them out, and then other team tries to grab him. So that's the whole crux of Kabaddi and the game of Kabaddi. So what I wanted to do was just quickly build, and then I'm from a city called as Bangalore, and then we have a team called Bangalore Bulls. If you see here, there's a Bangalore Bulls team. So I wanted to kind of create a web page which is responsive, meaning I should be able to see in a PC browser, I should be able to see in a mobile browser, I should be able to see this in a tablet browser also, right? So all I want to do was, when I come in, I want to show the match dates in a calendar. I want a calendar coming up. In fact, let me just show it to you. What's the outcome of this, and then maybe we can see this. Yeah. So this is what we'll be building today. So what you're seeing is I have a page. It has a the top level title bar or whatever, the navigation bar as they call it. And as you can see here, I have the title coming up here. It says Pro Kabaddi League 2015. I have maybe a couple of links, and then I also have this more teams and photos because I cannot fit it here. And as I said, my team is Bangalore Bulls. And if you see here, some of the dates are highlighted in red. So these are the dates on which Bangalore Bulls have their matches. Okay. So today's date is 13, and 6, 8, 12, 13, 14, 15, and 19 is the dates on which Bangalore Bulls will be having their matches. And what I wanted to show was the stats, maybe quick stats saying, like, okay, how is this particular team called U Mumbai doing? Let me refresh it. I don't know what happened. Looks like a so if I click on Telugu Titans, it shows how much they have played. They've already played 12 matches. They have won 7. They have lost 2. They have drawn 3. And then here's a wins and loss percentage kind of thing. And if I look at my team, Bangalore Bulls, well, we have played 10 matches, 6 won, 4 lost, and then 0 draws. And then here's the win loss percentage. So now I want to make this responsive. What you're seeing now is actually a page which has been built for the desktop PC browser, right? So what if I take this particular page and then let's use Chrome to use that extension? I could have resized the, what do you call the IE, but I wanted to show you this here. So, it doesn't work for the local directory. It needs to be a web server. Okay, let's resize the IE. So notice here what I'm doing now is it's a medium size screen now, and then you can immediately see that whatever I had as in the background. Let me show you this. Yeah, this is Chrome. So I have schedule, which is taking up the entire space that I have, and then I had the stats here, which is like 1 column and then 2 column. But if I'm opening up this page on a let's say a tablet browser, you can see that now the schedule becomes again it takes the whole, same row, and the stats, they become completely different way. So notice that the stats have gone into row wise. That is, instead of a column, they all automatically gone into row. Not only that, I want to notice what happens to the graph. They kind of resize very smooth, right? So that is what we give you in Kendo. With just a single line of code, you can make sure that everybody is responsive, and then everybody kind of works very well with whatever screen size you're looking at. So this is the responsiveness. And then notice here we have this menu coming up like this. So what I have done is this page uses Bootstrap as the layouting technology, and all the other things are Kendo style sheet. So of course I have not applied a Bootstrap theme. I can actually go and then apply a Bootstrap theme here. I'll show you that. But the chart is using a theme called default. That's why you are seeing this way. But this is what we'll be building actually. Okay, well, I'll go one by one. That is, I'll first put the Bootstrap. I'll build the top navigation bar, and I'll then start with this schedule, put the calendar, make it resize, show you how to make this guy responsive. And then we'll come back to this chart. So this chart, how can you make it responsive? Notice how now when I resize, I don't know how GoToMeeting is showing it to you, but I'm actually resizing, and then the the moment that I resize, the chart automatically resizes itself, and then it fills up whatever screen that whatever screen size that is there. So notice how it happens. And then now when I have a bigger space, the pie chart comes and then sits on the next, it sits as a 2 column. That is because of Bootstrap. That is what I said. So Kendo UI works very well with any of these frameworks that you want to use. It's not just the UI frameworks like Bootstrap or Foundation, but if you want to integrate your code with Angular, yeah, we provide Angular, the directives out of the box. If you want to work with Knockout, you can do that. So there are certain libraries which you can use and then do it. So I hope the problem statement is fine. So let's get started. What I've done in the interest of the time is I already just give me a second. So I'm just trying to get my Explorer window. Yeah, I'm going to go through step by step as to what needs to be done. Open a new window. Okay, so what I've done is I've already, so if you want to follow along, the simplest way is to go download, where's Telric? So you can go to this telric.com products Kendo UI, and then you can download a free trial. So we have 30 days free trial available. You can play around for 30 days, build, kind of do a POC or whatever, anything. All I've done is I've already downloaded Kendo, and then I've created a folder called as demos. And just give me a second. I'm trying to get my what do you call the editors. So I'm going to be using today something known as Visual Studio Code. It's a free code editor that Microsoft has released recently, and I'm kind of loving it. So where is my, okay, here it is. So this is the editor that I will be using. I've already done a couple of things, so let me go ahead and then kind of knock everything out. So I'm going to start with a clean slate. So here is app.js. I'm going to review everything. The only thing that I've done is I've already gone ahead and then brought Kendo. So you don't have to copy everything that you see here. On the left hand side, you're seeing, like, I have a Kendo, the JS folder, and then I have all the Kendo related stuff. You don't have to do you don't have to get everything. There are a couple of what do you call scripts required, and then you need the style. So these styles is nothing but the Kendo default themes, or the as we call it, and then related folders are being here. So I have just downloaded Kendo UI and copied the JS and styles and then kept it into my project. And of course I have created a scripts folder, and then I've kept the app.js. What I've done is I've already gone ahead to Bootstrap, and if you go here, it says getting started, and in the getting started, I've just clicked on download Bootstrap. Oh, I think I have used something called as Bootswatch website. So this Bootstrap website is nothing but based on the so the Bootstrap just provides a simple theme, a grayish background. That's the theme color of Bootstrap's default theme. So Bootswatch, what it does is it gives you this many color combinations. So basically, if you see here, this is the cerulean or whatever theme that they have used. So I'm going to be using this theme called as cerulean, and then here I'm just showcasing that this particular site called Bootswatch gives you a lot of color swatches, color combinations. So I'm using cerulean. I've downloaded that, and then I've included the CSS file here. Um, it's inside my styles, and then I have it as bootstrap.min.cs. So that's what it is. And in the JS file, I already have a bootstrap.min.js and then jquery.min.js. So that is all you need for Kendo, and of course Kendo script. So what I'm going to do is, so you need bootstrap.min.css, and then you need kendo.common.min.css, and then kendo.default.min.css. So now I talked about Kendo has a different themes, right? So this is where it comes into kind of a picture. So kendo.themename.min.css. So all you need to do is go take a look at the styles folder, and we give you a lot of themes, right? So we have the Metro Black, Moonlight, Office, Silver, Uniform, blah blah blah. So all those things are there. I'm just going to keep it as default now. It's up to you, whichever you want to use. From a query string, the JavaScript perspective, let me just resize them so that you can see the code. From a JavaScript perspective, all you need is jquery.min.js and then kendo.all.min.js. Of course, I will need the Bootstrap. So I'm going to say bootstrap.min.js. I think that's the name. Yeah, bootstrap.min.js. So this is the bare bone that is required. This is how you start. All you need is Kendo's style sheet, and then all you need is a Kendo script file. Of course, since we are using Bootstrap, we have included Bootstrap CSS file, and then we have included Bootstrap JavaScript file. And Kendo requires jQuery, so I have the jQuery also installed here. So instead of you seeing me typing, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and then copy paste some code. So basically, I'm trying to create the what we call as the navbar. So in the navbar, all I'm doing is, so these are all the Bootstrap related class files. So of course, if you're thinking I'm able to memorize everything, no, sorry, I can memorize all those class files. So what I did was I went to Bootstrap, getbootstrap.com. On the right hand side, you will have something called as components. In the components, there is a section called navbar, and in the navbar, so this is all it is. So this is a navbar, so I can just click on copy, paste it into my project, and then I will be able to get the navbar like this. So that is all I've done. So I have a navbar header. The header takes this particular title of the project, and then I have this navbar collapse and then the navbar right. So I want these links called fixtures, results, teams, photos to come on the right side of the screen. So that is why we are using navbar right. And let's see what we get now. So I can go to demos and then I can click on, and this is what we get. Uh, right? Are you able to see? I hope you guys are able to see that. So this is what you get. So we start out with the Bootstrap putting up the navbar. So we put the navbar now. Now, what's interesting is Bootstrap gives you this combination things. Like for example, let's say I'm going to create a div with a class called container. And inside the container, I'm going to now start with a row. Uh, and this is first row. And then inside this, what I can do is I can pretty much say like div call lg4. So this is column 1, maybe row 1, right? And then similarly, I'll keep these guys, and then maybe I'll add one more row just to showcase how Bootstrap's layouting technology is all about. So I'm going to say this is column 2, sorry, row 2, and this is column 3. Similarly, this is column 3, and then this column 2, right? Now if I come back here and then do this, what happened? I know what happened. So basically, when you use Bootstrap's themes, you need to create a one single style that is body, and then you say margin. Because my navbar is fixed, I need to just push my content a little bit down. And there you go. So I have row 1, column 1, row 1, column 2, row 1, column 3 kind of stuff. And then if I go and then kind of resize, you will start seeing what happens. Do you see what happened? All the rows have been stacked one below the other. So that is what Bootstrap is excellent doing things at. It will pretty much go and then say like, hey, whenever you don't have a space, I will stack it horizontally, right? So if I have a space, so he's going to go do a 3-column layout. If it is the same thing, if this particular page has been viewed on a mobile browser, he's going to stack it horizontally, like, row by row, not a column wise, right? So that is what it is. So now what I'm going to do is, remember what we had previously in the, so I need a schedule and then I need a stat. So that means I have 2 rows, and then this guy should take the complete what do you call the columns, that is 12 columns, and then I want this guy taking up 6. I want the pie chart taking up 6. So how do we lay that out? Very simple. So I'm going to use this guy and I'm going to say this is for 12, and here is where we will have the schedule coming up, right? Schedule, and this will be the kind of id is equal to, I'll just keep it as calendar for now, and I don't want these guys here. So what I just did was I said first row, take all the 12 virtual columns that you have. Then here I'm going to say take the 6 columns out of that. Now I'm going to say this is teams, and of course we'll have a div id is equal to chart teams chart, and then I will have This is for the pie chart. I'll call it as win-loss chart. Just a placing things around here. So that's it. So hope you're getting what I'm doing. So I created a row, and I said the first row, take all the 12 columns to show the schedule. So I'm going to be putting up a calendar here. And then in the second row, what I did was I created two columns, one taking up half the size. And I'm going to have a teams coming up here, and then also I will have, so I'm going to say this is teams. So just a drop down which will list down all the teams that I want to see. And of course, this is the win-loss chart that we will, percentage or whatever it is. Now, if I come back here and then refresh my page, take a look at this. So now what it has done is it has created a schedule, right? So I have the schedule which is taking up the complete first row, and then I have themes which is taking up half. So you do not see anything now because we are not placed anything now. So now I'm going to go to my scripts folder, app.js, and I need couple of data. So I have already prepared a couple of data here. So what I did was I went to the the website, the prokabaddi.com, and then they have the fixtures here. If you see here, if you come down here, they have the fixture, the league table. They have created the league table, and then also they have the timetable, like fixtures meaning which team is playing on what date. So I just created a static array out of all this data, handcrafted all this data. So that's what I'm doing. Here's the teams. Note that for this demo, I just using a static data. But if I had a web service which was giving me all this data, I can actually directly bind to that web service using Kendo UI data source. For this demo, I'm just using this. And then these are the fixtures or the date on which Bangalore is playing. So I'm just created an array of the dates. So I'll tell you what we are doing as we go ahead. So now, first thing that we need to do is I need to say document dot ready function. This is like the basic thing. So now if you notice here, we have the calendar. I want a calendar coming up here, right? So let's go and then say grab this element called which has an ID called calendar, convert that into Kendo calendar. So that is all it is to create a particular control. So if you now refresh, did I save everything? Yes, we have done. Okay, app.js, document.ready function. Yes. Okay, let me see what's the error. I've practiced this umpteen times. I don't know what's happening now. Oh, no error. Is the spelling mistake? Div ID calendar. Yeah, the spelling is correct. We have kendo.all.min.js. Yes. Oh, I did a basic mistake, and that mistake is I never included my scripts called app.js. So it's inside scripts and app.js, right? So now, yeah, if I come back to my screen and then do an F5, we should see a calendar coming up. Well, this looks very small, right? But on a desktop browser, I still have a lot of space. So what do we do? Well, when I said responsive, one thing that you need to do is basically you will have to come back on this guy and then say like, hey, you know what? I want you to use 100%. That's all you need to do. And then what happens is our calendar fills up 100%. But notice what I'm going to do now. What happens now? Take a look at this. The grid, the calendar is responsive in terms of, it knows that, hey, I would have to, kind of fill up all the whatever available space it has, and then I've been told to use 100%, right? But you don't have to come in and then as a programmer say that, hey, window changed, calendar, you go resize yourself. No, you don't have to do that. All you need to let us know, or all you have to do is to tell the calendar that, hey, I want you to make use of all the available width that is there. So that's what I did. So I said 100%. Now let's start building on this. So I don't want the footer coming up here, Thursday, August 13, 2015. I don't want all those things coming up here. So what I can do is I already have created today. So calendar allows you to pass certain things. So I can say value is today, and then I can say, hey, you know what, I don't want the footer coming up. uh, False, if I can spell it correctly. So now if I come back here, you'll see that there's no footer coming up, and then I have the current date selected. Now my idea is, when I have this Bangalore dates, I want to highlight only those dates. So what I can do is, we have this concept called as custom templates. So that's what I'm going to do now. So what I'm saying is, in the month, whenever a particular month's content is being drawn on the screen, I want you to take a look at this dates. Okay, I need to provide the date. So I will say BLR fixture. So this is basically saying nothing but these are special dates. So I'm saying if the current day that is being drawn on the screen, if it is a part of the the special date, I want you to show the color red, font weight bold, and then that's it. Otherwise, show it as is. So now if we come back here and then do this, take a look at this. Now it's kind of bold, red bold color. So that is fine. Now let's start working on the teams. Now for the teams, what I need to do is, I already have a select kept here. It's called as teams. So I will come back here, and then I will say hash teams, and I want this to be converted into Kendo drop down list. Okay, and there are a couple of things that I want to do. I already have the data, right? Remember, we have the array. So I want to use data text field as the name, data value field as the name, data source is data teams. So this is the teams is the static array that we have already. So now if I come back here and then do this, and we got the teams coming up. I have the Mumba, Telugu Titans, Bengaluru Bulls, and all those things. Now let's do the interesting piece, and that's charting this particular teams chart. I'm going to talk about how do you make the chart responsive, because out of the box the chart doesn't react to the whatever screen size or width you have. So the content element that you're seeing here is actually a template that I have written in order to output a particular date. So if you see here, I have month colon content, and I'm just so every date that is being drawn on this month, this content will be used, or this template will be used. So what I'm saying, the date, the current date that is being drawn, I'm taking that, and then I'm trying to see if this date is part of my fixtures, or the Bangalore fixtures, or the schedule on which Bangalore team will play. If it was the date on which Bangalore is playing, I want to change the output. That is, I want to set the foreground color as red, and I want to have the font weight as bold. Otherwise, show the date as is. So this is just a template on how the date should be rendered. You can pretty much come in and then do a lot of things, like you can add an icon, you can change a background color, whatever you want to do. I want to keep it simple, so I have it like this. So moving ahead, so what I want is, I want to create the chart here now. So before creating the chart, I'm going to create a data source, because I need a chart needs a data source. So this is a Kendo UI data source. Take a look at what I'm doing. Notice I had the static data. Take a look at what our Kendo UI data source is going to give us. So I can actually do a filter on the fly. I'm just saying, like, when the page starts, you select Mumba and then just filter it based on that, right? So after this, what I'm going to do is, I'm going to create a team chart. Right. So now the team chart is nothing but, again, grab a UI element, convert that into Kendo chart, and then I already have created a data source. So here is the data source. I've given the data source, and I'm creating 4 series: one series for played, one series for won, one series for lost, and then one series for drop. So let's take a look at how this comes out. So if you want to go through the code again, simple. With Kendo, this is the beauty of control creation. You're not actually writing too many codes. Rather, you are setting properties saying, like, hey, I want this control to be drawn like this. So I'm saying, use this data source, keep the legend to be on top, and the default series on your when you draw the chart is actually column series. I want the label to be visible, background should be transparent, and these are the series that I need. So what I'm doing is, I'm just telling what is the field in the data that it should use for this series. So there is a property called played, there's a property called one, property called loss, and property called draw in my data source. If you see here my data source, each team has played one last draw points, right? So that is all I've said. My series that you got to use these particular properties. Now, if I come back here and then do an FI, what did I miss now? Kendo chart, series. Hang on a minute. I've practiced this umpteen times. I don't know where it's going wrong now. So let me just quickly debug it. Let's go back once again. So I have team chart. So what is the name of the, oh, teams chart. Okay. So let me correct this. So when I was practicing, I named it as team chart. So here it's teams chart. So that's why. So there we go. So we have the nice looking, what do you call, the chart coming up. So what it is showing is, it is showing a series called played, series called one, or basically it's showing played, one, lost, and then draw. Currently U Mumbai have played 11 matches, they've won 10 and they've lost one, so they're actually at the top of the league. Now let's try to resize this, right? When I resize, notice that the calendar is doing perfectly well. You know, it is able to resize correctly, but we have a problem with the our chart. It's not resizing. As I said, chart out of the box does not resize, meaning it doesn't react to whatever. So I can go in here and then put in 100%. You know, maybe I can say like width is equal 100% and then do it. But there's a better way to do that. That is, I will actually go ahead and then put a wrapper here. I will say chart wrapper, and okay, so now in the page on the screen load, what we're going to do is we will just write one line of code, and that line of code is, I'm listening to Windows. If the window is getting resized, if the window got resized, we have this method called as kendo.resize, and then I'm telling what particular element needs to be resized. Notice if so, why I did a, why I created a wrapper and then calling a wrapper, because inside the wrapper I can go in and keep any number of charts, and kendo.resize will make sure that any chart that is inside the wrapper will be resized accordingly to the whatever space that is available. So now if we come back to our screen demo here, and if I resize this, you will notice that the screen is getting resized absolutely perfect. You know, notice this, what is happening now. Oh, did I resize? Uh, Hang on. Did I save app.js and chart wrapper? Oh, I did the same mistake. So it's actually, I'll just give a fictitious class called chart wrapper. So that's why if you see here kendo.resize, it says dot chart wrapper. So dot means go and get me any element which has a class called so and so. Now notice what happened. So I have already resized my screen, right? You know, it is looking like a phone screen or a tablet screen, and now the chart is fitting nicely. So let me decrease the height because it is going, I don't like that big height. So I will say style height maybe 200 pixel. Looks perfect now. So notice what's going to happen now. I'm going to keep resizing it. Voila. So we now see that the chart or whatever we had, it kind of resizes perfectly to whatever screen width that you are trying to do, right? So this is a simple example where I've showcased basically two controls which are pretty much most important things here in our, so the calendar and then the chart. So I can go in and then I in fact, if you I had too many things to showcase, so what I did was I wanted to base a concept. This is how you do it, and now I'm going to start showing you our can demos, or the demos that we already have here. Let me go to demos.telric.com/Kendo UI. Somebody was asking, like, is Kendo UI, is the grid responsive? So what we have done is so there are certain elements or certain controls which cannot be made responsive, meaning the grid, as you can see here, this is a tabular thing, right? So you will not be able to kind of if you make this grid responsive, meaning go fit into maybe 100 pixel, it's not going to look good. So what we have done is we have made the grid adaptive, and notice here in all our demos, if you see the top, we have a scale coming up here. It says this is the 1024, this is the 768, this is the 480. So if I go in and then resize, notice what happened. So the grid is actually resizing itself, and not only that, there are certain columns which keeps coming and then going away, right? So notice here. So what we have done is we have made it adaptive, meaning I want at this particular, so if there are 10 columns, I want always the first column and second columns to come up on the grid irrespective of the screen sizes, because that two columns can fit in any screen size, right? Whereas maybe the fifth column, sixth column, seventh column will not be, will not make good on a small screen. So we have come out with something known as min width, right? Let me show you that. And just give me a second. Resizable template, yeah, width. And similarly, we have other things coming up. So we have, I'll come back to that grid thing. Let me show you an interesting other one. So we came out with something called a responsive panel. So this is an interesting concept that we have. So if you use our panels, you can pretty much make sure, like, whenever you are in a small screen size or anything. So on the top, you can notice here what is happening, right? On the top, I have this hamburger menu. So notice my left hand side. So I have this search box, I have this menu bar, and then I have this default theme coming up on the top. So this is kept as a responsive panel. Okay, so when I resize, notice what happened to the left hand side search bar. It went away. That's because the responsive panel, as the name goes, is responsive. I can actually come in and then put a what we call as a breaks, meaning, hey, I want you to kick in at this particular what do you call the width. So at maybe medium width, that is 768, I want you to come in, hide that particular search bar, and then the left hand side, whatever navigation was coming in, and give me a hamburger menu. And that's why you're able to see this. Not only that, this is the themes is here. Notice what happened to now, right? It was coming up as a left hand side, or it was coming on the right hand side, and now it is coming up here. So there is a question. All these are available as a open source. Yes, Kendo UI core also has certain controls which are out of the box responsive. Of course, the grid that I showed you, all those things are not available as part of the core. The scheduler, grid, charts, these are not available as the core. It's available as a professional edition. But all the other things are baked into the core framework. We have Kendo UI core. On top of that, we have the other advanced widgets like grid, everything coming up. So you get all this baked in. You don't have to worry about that. So this is the concept of responsive panel. You can pretty much think about keeping a toolbar, all those things. Notice here what we have done. We have just kept a, if you take a look at the API, it's simple. And these are the API that we provide. Auto close, the breakpoint, this is what I was talking about. You can actually come in and say, like, these are the breakpoints that you need. So that means if I have kept notice here, I have a navigation ID and I have a href home and then products, and I'm converting that into a responsive panel. If the breakpoint is 1020, that means at 1020 it's going to look like a navigation, like an anchor coming up. But if it is anything beyond, like less than 1020, it will start giving me the hamburger menu, and then it will pretty much look like a hamburger menu, and then when you click on that, you will get a drop down. So that's the responsive panel. Very cool control that we have. Not only that, so if I have this page, And remember, we had included our mobile view extension, so I can see this page in mobile view, and notice what happens. The responsive panel kicks in, and I can click on that. I can pretty much go and then take a look at that, and then I can go back to this one, and again you'll have the responsive panel, right? It comes and goes. So that's as responsive you can get. If you ever want to create a these kind of behavior, that is, I want automatically at a particular the tablet width or a phone width, I want the navigation coming up like this, you can use a responsive panel. That's one thing. And we also have toolbar. Now this toolbar is interesting. This is out of the box responsive, right? So what is happening is, notice on the screen, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. 13 options have been placed on the toolbar, and we have placed the toolbar in this particular width. So that's why it has automatically given me an hamburger menu, and then it has this action, another action, something else here coming up. Now, if I resize this page, you will start seeing that all the items keep going into the hamburger menu. Notice what happened. See this? It neatly stacks up everything that you have inside your the page, the options, because it knows that it cannot output all these things. So now let me go use the mobile view, and we are in a tablet view now. And this is what happened. I'm going to go to the. So notice what happened. So it automatically does this. And again, this is out of the box. You don't have to do anything. If you see here, this is how we have created the toolbar, and that's it. So it is responsive out of the box. I have just created all the options that I need in the toolbar. I have not done any other code. Okay. Uh, so basically, these are some of the responsive things. Oh, there's somebody is asking, can I list out of the box which are responsive and which are not responsive? Good question. So here is a documentation link which says widgets that do not support auto resizing when container is resized. So basically these will not auto resize, right? But they're responsive, but they won't auto resize. So you will need to come in and then do that, right? So this is toolbar. Toolbar is responsive out of the box. Then what else I can show you guys? Scheduler, yeah, so scheduler is also out of the box responsive, so I can pretty much come in, resize my screen, or go to the tablet view. Take a look at this. In the tablet view, it just fills up whatever screen size it is available. If I go to the phone view also, it is filling up whatever screen size is available, so it is responsive. And I can resize the page to show that, take a look at this. I go to 1024, I go to 768, I go to 480, I go to 320. Of course, I'm a proponent of, I don't want to place a scheduler in a phone. I don't want this to come up in a phone, because phone has different ways to showcase the scheduler. Maybe tablet is fine. Tablet, you still have some screen space, so this is fine. This looks good, right? So scheduler is out of the box. What do you call, responsive. You don't have to do special things for scheduler. If you see here, nothing. I've just kept the scheduler. I've given the resources. I've given the data source for that, and then I've said height is 600. That's all I've done, and there's no code where I've said like, hey, when the screen resizes, you have to resize. No, this is responsive, right? And what else? Let me see. List view. This is one thing that you pretty much will come, and then kind of, if you have any time, this kind of what do you call, a scenario wherein you are supposed to showcase things horizontally, right? And so on a desktop browser, notice that I'm able to see 3, 6, 7 columns coming up, right? But maybe on a tablet, I don't think so, right? I don't think it's going to have that much screen width, right? Take a look at this. The list view will automatically go ahead and then place them like a single row. If I go to So in the background, you can see that there are 7 columns. That is because it is running in a desktop PC browser. But the same code, when it runs on a tablet browser, notice that the list view will automatically calculate. Okay, I cannot show all this, the whatever items that I have, and it will automatically squeeze it and then show only 4. Right? This is responsiveness. What I mean by that, right? Code is nothing fancy. That is all it takes. Take a look at this code. This is how you create a list view in Kendo. Kendo.list, a particular element called as list view, convert that into Kendo list view. Data source, there is a data source which holds all the data, and then template. How should I show each how should I use each template? How should I show each template? I'm giving a template. That's it. Somebody is asking, can I use Sublime? Well, I'm using something called as Visual Studio Code. That says just a this is a text editor. So any text editor that you're comfortable with, you can use Kendo UI, because Kendo UI is a JavaScript based client-side HTML5 UI framework. So you code in Visual Studio, you code in Sublime, you code in Visual Studio Code. It's up to you, whichever the editor you are familiar with, right? So let's get back to, so list view is one. And if you really want to see the power of our responsiveness, I would, there is one demo that we have specifically built for it. Go to demos.telerik.com/kendo-ui, and in this particular demo page, we have this Kendo UI loves Bootstrap. So this is the demo. We love Bootstrap. Of course, we cannot hate Bootstrap. So if you click on that, this is a fantastic demo that we have. I keep going back and forth looking at how we have done things. What we are showcasing here is, I want you to use Bootstrap dimension, meaning the pixel width, all those things, and I want to use Kendo UI theme called Bootstrap, right? What you're seeing here is actually a Bootstrap panel. Now this is a Kendo UI menu. Yeah, I didn't showcase this. Notice that this is a control called as Kendo UI menu. And since it has a lot of horizontal space, it is showing the menu horizontally. Now here is a tab strip. So this is actually a tab strip, and in the tab strip I have different tabs, and each tab has our Kendo UI chart, correct? And notice how neatly they look because of the small thing. And here is a editor. This is a fantastic thing that we have. So this editor, we are just showcasing an editor concept wherein you have text box. This is a date picker. This is a drop down list. This is again a Kendo drop down list. This is a text box, and then this is a multi select box, and this is a numeric up and down boxes, and we are working together with Bootstrap. So we are using Bootstrap's forms CSS style sheets, and this is our Kendo UI editor. Okay, and then here is the grid, here's the scheduler, here is the list view, and here is a accordion kind of we call it as a panel bar, right? You can do like this. Okay, and now what I'm going to do is I'm going to resize the page. Maybe this is a tablet width, right? Let me resize to a little bit small. Take a look at what happened to the menu automatically became vertical, because it knows that it does not have any space. And since we have used Bootstrap's panel, the panel goes ahead and then uses the complete width that is available. And not only that, take a look at this tab strip. What happened? The tab strip, when it is being shown in a desktop PC environment, it had a text next to these icons, but our tab strip is intelligent enough to know that now I don't have full width, so I'm running in a very constricted width, so it automatically it has hidden the text and it is showing only the icon. And not only that, the chart, we have used the same resize mechanism, and then the chart also, they are able to fit to the whatever width that I'm having available now, and they look crispy, they look good. Now this is interesting, right? Remember when we were in full screen width, the whole form was actually having 2 columns, but now Bootstrap, what it does is it automatically goes ahead and then makes them row wise. And so let me just resize a little bit so that it looks good. So notice what is happening when I resize. Our date picker is also able to resize automatically. and the drop down list and the all these things they're able to do, automatically resize, and right, all those things. And of course I had shown you the grid is automatic already, it is able to kind of resize itself, and then the scheduler and then list view. When I go and then resize it to maybe a bigger width, notice I have two columns now, but when I go and then constrict the width, I get a single column. And of course this is neatly, the panel bar is automatically resizing itself, if you see here, right? So this is the example that you should actually go take a look at it. If you're really looking at how to build a responsive page and then you want to use a enterprise level control, you can take a look at the Kendo UI controls. So that is all we had for today. I know I've just touched the surface. There's a lot many things going on with our controls, and then in 1 hour it's not easy to go through everything, but uh, I would suggest you, or as we call it, a call to action to you all is just go ahead, play around with Kendo UI controls, and then see how responsive they are for yourself. Okay, so now I'm going to stop the recording. So thanks to one and all who have come in today, and then we hope you will be with us in our future webinars. So don't forget, you have to go to www.teleric.helper.net, and this webinar video recording will be made available here by next week. So thank you very much wherever you are joining us today from. So we wish you a good day ahead and a happy weekend.